Hello, Sadaka here. Okay, so this is the second video in the Akadawa workshop series, and I want to cover posture and energy. In the first, and also mudras. In the first video, I talked about intention, and we were talking about simply having the intention, simply setting the intention, using intention to cause energy to activate and to start to flow. In this one, we want to take intention. Uh, Actually, we're gonna still keep it up in the air without really intending the intention to do something specific other than continuing to activate the energy. Because when we move into posture work, then it's really not important that we're intending anything specific with the posture except activating the energy and getting it to flow within that posture. So I'll just cover a couple of them. Already we went through this. This can be considered a posture or a mudra. It is this very expansive, my entire body is filling with the Akadawa, and whoa, and good times. Um, I would like to go through a sequence, uh, 5 different postures that you can do standing up with the Akadawa. Now, yeah, back in the day, I would be like, but there's only 5 exercises. There's 7 varieties of Akadawa with sub variety and blah 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 blah. And then later I was like, well, actually, there's 9. um, and so I wanted those things to match up. It doesn't matter. Okay, this is taken from Qigong, which is basically means energy work. So I assume that it's a good basis to go and use these practices that are specifically energy based, all about energy. It's all it's about, and using them for something like the Akadawa. Now I've been doing this for years and just letting flow what needs to flow. We'll start with the trees. So standing up in a posture, and I am just all the way out, you know, arms out. I like to sort of do this. This is an interesting mudra. If you study Tai Chi, they'll talk about this perfect hand, which is not limp. It's not like this and totally, but it's not like, this will block energy. But if you have something completely limp, then it really doesn't direct energy either. And so this is as lightly taut as you can get. It's strong and it's stable. Usually for me it's based off of these 2 fingers, mostly doing the tension work. There's a little bit of tension, but there's also enough relaxation and alignment for everything to flow perfectly along the hand. You go like this, that is very tense hand, and yes, it may cause energy to pool through the palm, but I find that it can be a little tense and a little constrictive. So this for me is usually what happens. Um, this is a little more activated than this or just a regular hand. Yeah. Okay. So I just wanted to cover that. And the first one is, yeah, so out there. And this is the wood posture or tree. And so basically you're just going to sit here. Just going to stand here. You can do this sitting or standing. I think mostly I've seen it done standing, and this could be considered a form of Zhanzhuang. It's not Qigong necessarily because there's no movement really. You just get into the posture, find that alignment, and I'm not gonna, well, I should cover alignment. You want to be feet firmly planted on the ground. You want, feet about shoulder width apart. Maybe dig your toes in a little bit and you'll start to notice where you're balanced or where you're not balanced on the floor. And you're like, oh, I need to move my feet out a little more. That's a really good thing. Dig the big toe down into the earth and then do the other ones. And you'll be like, oh, whoa, I'm not stable. I need to move my feet around. And then once you get a nice good position, on the exact center of your foot, you should be standing. And so get that alignment. Then pull in your chin to straighten the neck. Pull that back like that. You don't want to be like this. You don't want to be like this. Some people will lean forward. Some people will lean back. this is all Qigong posture. It also has to do with if you do any type of yogic movement or flow. They basically cover exactly the same stuff. You know, you want to be on the exact center of the foot. You want energy to be able to flow. You want to slightly bend your knees so that there's no locking, so that, again, energy can flow down and up from the earth into your system. All of that you can spend a lifetime getting right. So what I just want to cover is just the basics, like make sure that you're aligned, make sure that you're working on your posture, make sure that you're not leaning back or forward, make sure that you know, all of that stuff, again, you can work on it for a really long time, and you need to work on it for a really long time. So that's not something that I'm gonna like demonstrate just to get there. You know, that's really basic, and you should cover that kind of stuff for your own benefit. Now, once you have a proper alignment, and even if you just want to cut right to it, you're like, okay, I understand. I need to get my alignments proper and posture proper and all that kind of stuff. But like, can we get to it, please? So here is the tree. In the Taoist system, you're going to be relating this to wood chi. In this system of Akadawa, just activate the Akadawa. Okay, so I got this posture. I'm totally balanced. Now I intend, remember the exercise from before? We are intending now, intending to activate the Akadawa. When I do this particularly, I will feel things very much in the center of the chest. It's a very heart activating, lungs activating. In the Taoist systems, wood has to do with the liver, and so you can think about the liver too if you want to. It has to do with east. If you want to, you can face the east and put this into the directions. If you're invoking the directions in a sort of magical sense, then you can use this as well. This is my posture for the east. Activate the Akadua, you know, and just let it go. Stay there for as long as you can. Whether you have the Akadua or Reiki or anything else in between, just staying in this posture and finding your alignment and breathing is going to do wonders for your system. Okay? Anything like that is going to do wonders for your system. The next one is fire. And so we hold this in front of the chest essentially. Find a good position. You'll want your elbows to be out, like, you know, not like this lazy fire, you know. No. Right here, shoulders down, alignments, and then right in front of the chest, not necessarily all the way pushed out, not back too far. We want this just to be somewhat stable in between, right? This connects very much to the heart as well, very much to the heart, and this sort of central column of fire energy that is very necessary to the body, the triple heater type thing in the Taoist conception. And we're going to sit there the entire time. Intention. I am activating the Akadwa. Notice what happens when you intend. I just felt energy move from my crown chakra as I intended and started to melt downwards. You'll notice energy coming out of the chest area. You'll notice your hands getting hot, your arms. You'll notice different things happening in all of those systems. And if you want to, use the conception of the Taoist 5 elements or 5 phases of Qi. You can absolutely feed that into it. Okay, so me, fire, Akadua, hua, and then you can get a sort of flow with the element of Qi that you're using in that posture, fire in this case, and the Akadua itself. You can use different types or varieties of the Akadwa with each posture. Not necessary. when you get to a certain level of a Kandwa work and experience, then you will no longer really be distinguishing between varieties. It just sort of is all of them all at once. And you can play with them if you want to, but not really necessary. Trying to keep everything as general as possible. Fire. Then we move into a closed hand position. You can do it a little bit like this, but I find that this is really activating. This is more stabilizing, and that is right in front of the lower dantian. So, belly button, that's where the center of the middle finger should be, right in line with the belly button. And then you move this out again with the elbows and trying to find a good position, and you move this out until you find where it is stable, and this is earth. It's basically just a simple holding the hands in front of the lower dantian type position. This is earth. This is in the Taoist conception, in the Taoist model, earth is the combination of all of the qis, all of the energy, and so it can be also thought of as alchemical soil, if that helps. So this is the center, which is why it's third, I suppose. Activate the Akandwa. No direction. Is it outside? Is it inside? No. The Akandwa is activating while I am in this posture. You will feel things building inside of your lower dantian. You will feel energy rushing around different places on the outside. You will feel the wind change when you activate the Akandwa. That happens a lot. You will feel the wind change on your own body. Qi, in its original conception, was breath, right? And so you have these breaths that people are trying to figure out in the body. When you start working in a certain way and you open certain channels, sometimes it'll go and you'll feel this thing in your system open up. It literally feels like a little thing just opened, and then there's this little wind tunnel that's inside of you, and you're like, what the heck is going on? Like, where is that coming from? Where is it going? What's going on? And it's really just your system opening up and qi moving in ways that it wasn't able to move before. And so it makes perfect sense to me that the ancients called this stuff breath, because that's what it feels like most of the time. Even when you're working, well, especially when you're working with the Akandwa, which is not like a breath, it's like this amberish, honey, thick, viscous, amazing spiritual energy, and it's also like very earthy. And so then you open it up, and then all of a sudden something that's closer to your system, closer to your biological system of qi and jing and shun, and something opens up because of that, and then flows into the new little system, the new galvanized junction point or chakra or meridian point or whatever you want to call it, that you just upgraded by using the Akandwa. Now all of a sudden this energy can flow in and out of it much more easily, and it's fantastic. So without going into the details, I just wanted to encourage people. Like, this stuff is really, really powerful, and it's not just all up in the air. It can get very, very specific as to the types of alchemy that you choose to work within your own body, your energetic system, the type of energies that you choose to use, the type of energies that you choose to channel, and how you want to recreate and upgrade your own system, recreate and upgrade your own body. I want to be the Taoist on the mountain who's sweating even though there's a snowstorm outside and there's this like bubble around me protecting like that's the kind of thing I'm going for. You might just want to be able to walk into a grocery store and not get like crazy with empathic impressions. All right, I'll keep running through the rest of them, and then I'll show you something else really quickly, which I probably should have done first, but whatever. Okay, so we did fire, boo, and then we did earth, which is down here, The center, activating the Akadua, not thinking of any particular part of my body. If I was intending on those things, then when I was here, I would be focusing on maybe my fingers or the palms of my hands to get this energy to move outwards. Being a little dramatic. Don't do it like this. Alignments, posture. If I was doing this one, I would probably focus on the heart space. If I was doing this one, I would probably focus on the lower dantian, the middle center of the lower dantian. Now, what comes after earth is metal. This is all lungs. So just arms out here straight, nothing complicated about it. Superman styles. You don't want to all the way out here. You want a nice, clean, and sometimes you can do with the elbows so that you get this sort of like triangle thing going on. But really, for the lungs, it's a little more forward, and you want that line going to the index finger to be real clean, so that there's no kinks in between. So this is kind of like, whoa, you want that energy to flow, but again, you don't want to be like stretched out here. So just, relaxed forward. You can still do the hand that I was talking about before, where these two fingers are doing the work. And yeah, but just simple. And this is metal. Connects very much to the lungs, the Po soul, which is the sort of earthly soul, and the lunar soul. That's sort of the shadow soul that keeps everything bound to this existence. We can't just be all yang all the time, burning and burning and burning. Alright, so this one, lungs and metal. Activate the Akadua. Intend. Even though I've said the words, I don't just blank my mind and go, okay, I'm waiting for the Akadua to happen. I am still intending. I'm just not necessarily saying it, right? Toning does help. You can do that. You can do that type of exercise and be like, I'm in the posture. I activate the Akadua from every pore in my body. And then that tone, because it's just straight and it's not doesn't have any associations with it, that becomes your intention. So attach your intention with your mind to that or whatever sound you want to make. Ah, it could be anything, right? Attach that to the vocalization, and suddenly it kind of helps to blank your mind while also continuing to have the intention attached to something, so that you continue to, I don't want to say force the intention, but I guess, yeah, will the intention to continue to do its thing. Otherwise, we just go and, slack off mentally. And then the last one is water. And you'll basically just take the hand again and put it back here in a cup shape on the sides to sort of like cup the kidneys in a way. So this happens a lot in a lot of different systems that I've seen, where they want to end with the kidneys, because the kidneys tend to have that energy of the will and that sort of force behind things. It's sort of like waiting yin force that really needs to that isn't a yang force. It's not, whoa, I'm out here all the time. It's like, no, I'm building slowly. And if you don't have that building slowly, that behind the scenes kind of background energy, that force of will, then you really can't do anything. Especially when it comes to the intending. Like, well, okay, you have the intention or whatever. You don't have the will to intend anything anyway, and so you don't even begin, won't get into that. So, water, activating the Akadua. If I was thinking about one thing, one particular place, which again, you don't have to do yet. If I was thinking about one particular place while I was doing this, activating the Akadua, water posture, I would think of Ming Men. center right between the kidneys, and I would focus on that point. Then when you're all finished, you're noticing where the energy goes, and suddenly, you don't have to focus on those points, but when you get more specific, you can focus on those points to ramp it up just a little bit. And then you'll notice, especially when I work with the kidneys, I get these feelings of like steamy coolness, and that's very different from the rest of the fiery type energy that you get when you're working up here and that kind of thing, the Kandwa and whatnot. So then when you're finished, you've done your thing and you feel stuff, come back, one hand over the other. Basically, the palms should be lining up and then going into the center of the belly button. Traditionally, men are right hand over left hand, and women are left hand over right hand. I just say do both at different times. This usually means building up more energy, and this usually means sloughing off more energy. So this can be thought of with the left hand over the right. Whichever hand is on top is the one that's dominant. So with the left hand on the right, I feel this more earthy connection and things moving back into the ground. But then they also start to build back up in a very positive and powerful way. With this is more yang. It's more like heaven-based and this stuff. But again, it's all cyclical. It really doesn't matter. And I found, and then there's this, which is sort of like a combination of the two. So this is the one that I'm supposed to do as a boy, and yet I find that the left hand is more on top than the right hand, so it's a little confusing. This is all relative and it's all subjective stuff. If your energy flows a certain way, you might feel like, you know what, I am much more in line with the yin today. I just want this stuff to go away. Or not go away, but just flowing out, flowing out, flowing out. When you feel like you're really getting like emptied out and you need to build stuff up, then do this one, right? So you use both. We're creatures of both paths, and everyone has, the divine feminine and the divine masculine inside them all the time. The biological expression is probably the least important aspect of that. Okay, so that's through the entire thing. Now, a simpler version of that I wanted to take you through, I probably should have done first, is exactly what we did with the earth posture. And we're going to start with the lower dantian, and we're going to activate the Ikadwa. You can feel what your hands are feeling. Your hands are in this big pool of energy in front of the lower dantian, and they're going to feel things. So allow them to be a little loose. Don't let them move all crazy yet. That's for different times in a different video. Just allow them to, just feel the energy moving around till you finally find a place that's mostly stable. Activate the Ikadwa. And see what happens. Again, for focus on the center of the lower dantian. When you're ready, move up to this one. Focus on the middle dantian, the center of the middle dantian. See, this is an extra step. So at first, you might just hold the posture, natural here in front of the heart space. Activate the Ikadwa. Notice what happens to it. How does it flow? How does it make you feel? Do you feel smoothness? I feel a smoothness when I activate the Ikadwa. Do you feel different sensations of heat, light, whatever your thing is? Just pay attention to it. Try to get out of your own head so that you're not feeding into what's actually going on. And then another step, when you've done this exercise several times and you get really comfortable with it, is to direct that energy a little bit more. So now you're not only intending that the Ikadwa activate, you're intending that it activate into a specific place. So Ikadwa activate center of lower dantian. Ikadwa activate center of middle dantian. intending, feeling. It's just a tiny little push more to locate that energy. So see, we're adding a different element than just intending that the energy flow anywhere in any direction as I'm holding this posture. Amazing, totally amazing. That's what you need to do at first, and then you're adding that one extra element of putting it into a place. And so we're going to put it in each dantian respectively. Lower, middle, upper. You're up here, you can hold the hands more like this, and they're up here. Finding it, yeah. We're not like down here. We're not like this. We're not like, it's all the way, poof, up here. See that, like that, and that's coming down into the center of the upper dantian, or the crown chakra and the third eye chakra and all of that good stuff. Really, just think of the center of the brain or the center of the head. And I am activating the Akadua. In the center of the upper dantian. So you're adding that element of location to it. And then, as you add that element of location, your mind goes towards the location. So you immediately become aware when you're focusing on the upper dantian and locating the Akadua as activating from that point. Your awareness immediately goes to how it feels. How the center of the head feels. And then you'll start to notice energy in that place, right? Go with it. Yeah. Pay attention to how it feels. Then you might get distracted and you're like, oh, going back to my intention. But when your intention is connected, that's what I wanted to say. When your intention is connected to a feeling and a location, and you're in the center of the head, and you're feeling that, and you're feeling energy in different ways, then it's easier to continue the intention that it activate. So the point is not to confuse yourself with all of these different aspects of your intention. The point, again, is to condense it down to one thing, so you're only doing that one thing. I'm holding this posture. I'm allowing the energy to flow the way it's supposed to flow. I am activating the Akadua. I am activating the Akadua in the center of my brain. All of those things is one things. I don't even have to know what my intention was. That's the scary part of it. And part of the reason that these mental powers are so powerful and so important is that you don't even have to know. You don't even have to remember. All you have to do is continue intending. It's hard to understand at first, but you'll get there, and eventually you'll be like, oh my freaking God, this is amazing. All I have to do is mind powers, and all this stuff starts happening. That's where you want to get to. Okay, love, I will move on to the next video.